Welcome to Quick Bites, a video series brought to you by the Washington Hospitality Association, highlighting changes coming to the Washington State Food Code on March 1st, 2022. Today's video is sponsored by Harbor Food Service. Harbor Food Service is thankful for every opportunity to keep our industry moving forward. For other supportive resources, visit harborfoodservice.com, where we believe that life happens around the table. And now, here from the Washington State Department of Health is Susan Shelton to discuss changes related to policies and procedures.
The one that we're going to talk about today is one written plan that applies to all food establishments. You must have a written plan for responding to vomiting and diarrheal contamination events. This is a brand new requirement. It's in response because we have had outbreaks linked back from maybe customers or employees vomiting or having an incident inside of a food facility that then tracks throughout the facility and potentially contaminates and makes people ill. So again, this is a new requirement. Every food establishment is going to be required to have a written procedure and also to train employees to on how to clean up vomit and diarrheal events. So the procedures are going to be required to reduce potential exposure to four things: your employees, your consumers, your food, and your surfaces. All right, so we have several guidance materials on this and some sample plans that you can actually modify. So really encourage you to reach out and look for those as well. But again, you're going to have your plan that's going to be very specific for your food establishment to make sure you're protecting, again, employees. You're going to have to talk about personal protective equipment like gloves and masks. Also talking about how employees have to clean their outer garments. Maybe they have to go home and change their clothes. Also, it's going to be really key that you watch employees to make sure they don't get sick after they help with cleanup. It's one of the leading causes of illness is people that actually have to clean up diarrhea and vomit. Also, look at how you're going to protect consumers. Maybe you need to isolate or clean the affected area. You might have to rope things off. Also, there's going to be potentially some food discard. If somebody had an incident near a salad bar or near open foods, those foods will probably need to be discarded. And then the last concept is surfaces. This is where it's going to be really specific to what you do. You're going to really want to make sure that you look at the surfaces inside your food facility. So you might have carpeting that you have to clean up. You might have outdoor areas with grass. You might have concrete that's a little bit porous, or you might just have tile. Depending on the surfaces that you have, you're going to change your procedures to match each of those. Key component about the vomiting and diarrhea cleanup plan is it's going to be very specific for norovirus. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a disinfectant that's labeled for norovirus. It may not be what you usually use for your sanitizer. It's probably going to be a lot stronger. So really make sure that you read the label and it says effective against norovirus. And then it's going to talk to you about how to mix it up and how to use it at a strong concentration, because you're going to often use that to clean up and disinfect the actual area where somebody had an incident. The other part about this is it's not going to be a good idea to clean up all of these materials inside the kitchen. So it'd be helpful if you could find another sink, maybe a utility sink that's not in the kitchen, that you can actually help to get all the cleaning utensils, everything washed. So again, your facility, depending on what you do, needs to have policies and procedures. All right, some of those are going to require to be written. And the one that's going to apply to every single food establishment is a written cleanup plan for vomit and diarrhea. And you're not going to be able to just use one off the shelf. You're going to have to review whatever you see as an example and make modifications. Because again, it's going to be specific for cleaning up surfaces inside your facility. If you have carpet, if you have wood, if you have surfaces that are difficult to clean, upholstery, it's going to take you a little bit more effort to determine your cleanup plan. Also, you have to make sure your employees are protected, right? Make sure they have gloves, maybe a mask, maybe a disposable apron to make sure that they are safe if they're cleaning up. The other part of that is it hopefully isn't your food worker. Hopefully it's not somebody that has to clean up diarrhea and vomit and then go back into your kitchen. All right, so you really want to make sure that you're assigning staff. Also, you got to protect food. You got to be clear with staff about which foods actually need to be discarded. We generally recommend 25 feet around an area where you had vomiting and a vomiting incident. Make sure all that food that's been unwrapped actually is discarded. And then the last item you're going to have to make sure is, let's say you've got your employees, you've got your surfaces. You're going to have to also make sure your food is protected and then your consumers are protected. Make sure you have a way to get them out of the area where somebody had an incident. So again, really key component, looking at how you clean up diarrhea and vomit and make sure you have a plan, and then also a kit if your staff needs something specific for your plan.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest news and updates impacting the hospitality industry.